Yo, 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 yo. Yo, peep the style and the kids checking for it. The number one question is how could you ignore it and drop right back in the cut over basement tracks and raps that get you back in the track like rewind that and just roll with the rhythm and rhymes from the ashes. A stylist division with these non-stop lyrics of life living, not to be forgotten but still unforgiven. And in the meantime, there are those that wanna talk this and that. So I suppose that it gets to a point where feelings gotta get hurt and get dirty with the people spreading the dirt. Come on, try to give you warning. Everyone ignores me. Told you everything loud and clear, but nobody's listening. Called to you so clearly, you don't wanna hear me. Told you everything loud and clear. Nobody's listening. I got a heart full of pain, head full of stress, hand full of anger held in my chest, and everything else is a waste of time. I hate my rhymes, I hate everyone else's more, and I'm riding on the back of this pressure, guessing that it's better I can't keep myself together because all of this stress give me something to ride on. Pain give me something I can set my sights on. I never forget the blood, sweat, and tears, the uphill struggle over years, the fears and trash talking into people it was two with the people that started it, just like you. Tried to give you warning, but everyone ignores me. Told you everything loud and clear. Nobody's listening. Called to you so clearly. You don't want to hear me. Told you everything loud and clear. Nobody's listening. I got a heart full of pain, head full of stress. Nobody's listening. Hand full of anger held in my chest. Nobody's listening. Uphill struggle, blood, sweat, tears. Nobody's listening. Nothing to gain, everything to fear. Nobody's. Hey, people are listening. Is it as hot as it is here? Probably. It's hot. It's like gotta be in the 80s. It didn't seem that hot earlier. I thought I was gonna be fine. I thought, it's gonna be a great day for a walk around vlog because it ain't that hot. Nope. It's hot. It's fucking hot. Welcome back to the Chesapeake Bay. It's another fucking scorcher up on the Chesapeake Bay. And another day I wait on a phone call from my supplier, wondering how a shut-in is meant to get a little higher. Do you know more good spots in VA Beach? Me and my friends go down there for beach trips sometimes. Generally, depends on what you're looking for. Virginia Beach is not really that cool of a place to hang out, which is why I don't try to go there all the time or anything, why I was intent on leaving there when I lived there, you know. Mount Trashmore is a cool little park. It's fine, you know, it's kind of in town center, so there's a couple breweries nearby to it. They're both okay. There's there's a bunch of somewhat fancy restaurants that are all fine. Jade Villa's there. It's the best Chinese food place I've ever been to still. So if you want to have some really good Chinese food, you know, Jade Villa is like a maybe 5-minute drive from Mount Trashmore. So you check those two things out at the same time, I guess. You know, Pho 79 is right there too if you wanted. That's like the first pho place I ever went to. They're pretty good. There's a Wegmans right there for some reason. Where my dad goes to buy his vegan groceries. What else is in town center? Town center's like, you know, got a bunch of little shops and stores and stuff, but nothing all that exciting to actually look at besides the Trash Mountain, which itself is not that exciting or impressive. It's really just kind of a public park. It's got a skate park. You know, the main beach, the Boardwalk Beach, is probably the most impressive thing in Virginia Beach to like see as a tourist destination. But there's like, I mean, my favorite pizza place down there is Chicho's. They've expanded that all through Virginia Beach now, so you know, you can get Chicho's pretty much anywhere you go in Virginia Beach. They're good pizza. Get the spicy pizza. I think they just put crushed red pepper in their tomato sauce or whatever, but it's really good.
What else is really cool in Virginia Beach? Like, me and Bird went down to the Chicks Beach area the other day, and it was just loaded with white rich people, like an unbelievable number of like upper class, just like dog shit humans, like the kinds of people who like just walk out into the road because they can never imagine something happening to them, you know? Upper middle class white people are like the absolute worst type of people. In my opinion. I'm gonna go under this overpass. Check out what's over here. There's a Boy Scouts of America building over here. It's occurred to me I've never been under this overpass. A lot of building materials down here. Oh, this leads right to the graveyard. This might be the easier way to get there. I don't have to walk through the roads and shit. I'm right at the edge of the graveyard on the walk. But it's fenced. I don't know where there's an opening in the fence is the issue. Oh, there's a gate. Maybe I can go through this gate. I don't know if it's locked. There's a pull-up bar over here. Huh. Check this out. The Boy Scouts of America and church have a pull-up bar right by the graveyard. I guess I'm gonna use this. Juma, $2. Is there a cool place you'd recommend hanging out? Like just in general on Earth? I really like Oklahoma City. It's a friendly place with lots of breweries, and they've got Brahms, which is the best and cheapest fast food place in America, in my opinion. I'm gonna do some pull-ups. See how many pull-ups I can. Five pull-ups. I wasn't on my bingo card either. I had no idea there was a pull-up bar pretty nearby to where I live. Just randomly at this church. I'm gonna flip this camera around till it's tight on its fucking thing. Oh no, I didn't know I was muted. How long was I muted for? Probably too long. I was talking about how that underpass would be a pretty decent place to live. There was a guy who had a setup there. It looked like he'd been there for a while. I mean, I didn't see the guy himself, I just saw his setup. It looked like he'd been there for some time. In spite of the fact that there's lots of construction materials around, which makes me think that, you know, nobody's trying to kick them out, which is cool. Because it had like the overpass hill on one side, and then you had a big, nicely maintained graveyard right behind you. And then the church and Boy Scouts place on the other side. So like, all things considered, a pretty well maintained spot, like, you know, that if you are allowed to just stay there, not the worst place, you know. If you can live there for free, I feel like I'd be willing to pay for that. I'd pay $50 a month to live under that underpass, you know. I'm not trying to price out the homeless guy that already got there, you know, but I'm just saying. Oh shit, I'm walking up the wrong thing. I'm walking up a fucking highway entrance. I gotta cross it. The road is very confusing here. The way to get to the graveyard is very confusing. There's two ways to get there. One that's less confusing but takes longer. One that's very confusing but doesn't take as long. Oh, actually, what if instead of the graveyard I walked around this fucking abandoned Farm Fresh building? So, I'm out here at Ward's Corner. This is where very important Interstate 64 drops into the north side of Norfolk. And this corner in particular, like this set of intersections, is just a ton of big failed businesses. So this was a grocery store, Farm Fresh. Now it's a nothing. It's across the street from a whole bunch of nothing. The worst Taco Bell I've ever been to. If you guys remember, maybe some of you were there, we did this driving around stream that ended with us going to Taco Bell. And I think we ended the stream like at the Taco Bell. We got back home and Bird realized that the woman had not given him back his card. Like he just had absentmindedly not gotten his card back. So he goes back to the Taco Bell and he goes up to the counter and the woman kind of like makes him wait around for like 5-10 minutes, you know, because she's like, oh, I'm busy with other customers. And it's like, all you have to do is hand me my card back. So she did, eventually. He filed a report to, you know, corporate or whatever, but highly suspect Taco Bell over there. Would not go back. Anyway, yeah, let's walk around this dead building that once was, the only thing new here is they built a Black Rifle Coffee Company. I have no idea why. This is the most cars I have ever seen at this Black Rifle Coffee Company. This is the busiest I've ever seen it at 1 p.m. on a Wednesday. And I bet half these people work here. Alright, let's find out what's behind this here dead Farm Fresh. Lots of lots. Empty lots. There's a whole lot that's just... This has been fenced off, and it's got a do not trespass sign, but it is so thoroughly overgrown that obviously no one has attempted to maintain it in any way in probably decades. So this is a useless space. It's actually kind of wild to me that there's not like homeless people all throughout here. Like I really expected I'd come back here and find a bunch of homeless people. Maybe they just don't stick around during the day because there's not really good shade. Yeah, it's not a pleasant place to be standing, but there's a nice breeze coming right now. So I'm not feeling like ultra hot or anything. It is kind of hard to see the fucking screen. I've got the brightness all the way up and I still struggle to read what you're all saying in chat. Well, I don't think it really matters if I'm muted or not anyways. I don't think that the content of what I say matters that much. Does it? I can't tell. I feel like everything that I think is important, or that I say that I think is important, has no way of reaching anybody who would also think it's important. You know? Here's a thought, like Hampton Roads, this whole area, kind of a shithole. I think it's a shithole because it's mostly a swamp. The only reason that there's society here is that, like, America started here. We landed, like, the British landed here, started their colony, you know. And as soon as you've got roots somewhere, you got roots there, you know. The only thing that's gonna take you away is the property being totally worthless, or, you know, every single person has a better prospect somewhere else in your whole community, you know. It's happened throughout American history and our expansion, but usually once we've put people somewhere, unless it's the middle of the desert, someone sticks around, and then you end up with a whole fucking, now you gotta build roads to that guy, you know, because somehow he's making money in the fucking swamp, selling tobacco, mining coal, whatever. Hey, opening in the fence. When I was a teenager, I listened to this band Dredge a lot. They had a lyric that they would insist on: "We live like penguins in the desert. Why can't we live like tribes?" And it's always kind of stuck with me, like, yeah, people just live in like a very out of place. Like, we had a successful way of just being human naturally for like lots of our history as a species, and then we just decided, like, yeah, but now we're gonna do this other thing that we think is better, you know, like, fuck all that stuff we were doing for all that time. let's go build a metropolis on top of like reclaimed land, you know. That makes total sense. That seems very sustainable, super sustainable. Just keep pumping more population onto a fucking island of reclaimed land. That makes total sense, you know. But everybody's like, yeah, but New York though, it's cool. It's not. It fucking sucks. It's a bad idea and it sucks. Stop doing it. Hampton Roads, not really a good idea. There's parts of it that are cool and nice, but why are we doing this? We could just do a better thing elsewhere. I don't know. Most of human society is kind of shit. It doesn't make any sense. I don't really know why we're continuing on with it. But hey, you know, most people don't seem to want to live like me. Like, I've been thinking about, like, why doesn't my word carry more weight, you know? And it's because people look at what I'm doing and they go, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be gay. I don't want to be outside. I don't know. I can't figure it out. Why am I, what am I not cool? Why ain't I cool? You know, is it just that I'm not towing any lines? Why can't I be the line though? Why isn't there a line forming behind me? That's what I'm asking, basically. Is it because I hang out in front of grungy abandoned buildings and talk to myself while holding up a weird camera rig thing? June, don't worry. I believe in you. I believe in all of you who are here in chat. You gotta remember, this isn't about you. You're already here. But there's like 20 of you. Why are there only 20 of you? Why are there so few of us? Why is it so hard to make more of us? Why does it feel like there is an oppressive regime against there being more of us? Like, why does it feel like there is a conspiracy on the part of society to prevent the creation of more of us? Why does it feel that way? I'm not even saying that it is that way. I'm just saying it feels that way. Because I'm pushing so hard all the time, you know? I feel like somebody should be looking at this and going, like, rally behind that, you know? And maybe I just don't have the right words. You know, pride items, that didn't work. I thought it was funny. Some people thought it was funny, you know, maybe a little too much of an in-joke. Maybe pride is too co-opted. Maybe gay people don't like pride, I don't know. But, you know, I see just so many openings. Like, to me, it's like there's a wide open lane in front of me, and I'm doing like 100, and no one else is even trying to follow my car, you know? Like, strange. Maybe the highway is not a easy enough metaphor for most people to get, because y'all probably don't drive as much as I do. But, I don't know. I feel like I'm in constant motion, and everybody else is sitting still. And I like my seafaring metaphors also, being out here by the Chesapeake Bay. The rising tide raises all ships, right? Well, how do you make the tide go up? If somebody finds a way to control the weather, you know, how do you get the weather out from under their control? Earthquake. You gotta make an earthquake. You gotta push the water so high that it rises above those buildings they've built and swallows them back into the ocean. Leaves you with a level playing field to make the rules all over again, you know? I believe in the power of nonviolent cultural revolution, but it requires revolutionary words. It requires finding, like, the best words. I'm out here by the train tracks. I'm not going to trespass across the train tracks because those are active train tracks. Train comes through here every day. Every day when the train comes through right here, it blocks all access to the exit ramp that's right there for 15 minutes. And it also blocks the next exit down at the same time, because the layout of this city is fucked. That's why this corner is completely dead. The reason that these businesses can't thrive is that nobody wants to get trapped between that interstate exit and that fucking train. So this whole corner is just dead business. Massive dead business. The train is slow. Anyway, that's Ward's Corner, North Side, Norfolk. I don't really have mission statements other than, Pride Items was a mission statement, and it just didn't work. Not enough people care. I have to have people be on board for whatever I'm doing, you know? Like, if nobody really cares, then it's not gonna work. I need, like, a type of militant zeal that is commanded mostly by religious fanatics, you know? High energy personalities. Where do I find the high energy personalities, you know? Nodes. Other nodes. People that will pulse the information further. You know, like in Twitter terms, I don't know how many of you really use Twitter like as a heavy user. But generally you'll know if there are certain people who you can count on that they're gonna retweet what you say if it's important. You know, like if you post, like if I were to post one of my songs to Twitter, I know Bird is going to retweet my song. I know Riley's going to retweet my song. You know, I know that whoever produced the song is going to retweet the song. probably my other producer friends are going to retweet the song. Like, there are certain people I can count on that I know are going to spread that message for me because they also care about the message innately, you know? And if I say, like, if I put out a song and even one of those people didn't retweet it, I'd be like, must be a bad song, you know? Like, I really didn't kick it this time, guys, you know? Like, not everybody thought this one was cool. But, like, you know, my sphere of influence is pretty small. I don't have, like, I don't have it on that level where you look at my enemies, like Eric July or Yellow Flash. These guys, each of them has millions of subs channels, and they're boosting one another. You know, they're each retweeting everything one another does. They have coordinated effort towards making their shit pop, you know? They make sure everybody within their whole combined sphere of influence is going to hear their message. I've been like, the places that I've had the most impact are communities that are also, like, not fully embracing of me, you know? Like, the Who Are These Podcasts, the Dick Show universe, like, I am liked in those communities in my capacity to entertain in the context of those communities, but it hasn't translated to, like, people coming back and becoming a fan of me. At least not recently. I mean, it might have happened at a time, but it's usually more so that people who are fans of the Dick Show, who are also fans of me, found out about the Dick Show through me. There hasn't been a ton of people who had never heard of me, and then because of the Dick Show became a fan of me, you know? There hasn't been a bunch of people who heard me on WATP and went, what is this person about, you know? So, like, the stuff that I actually like and listen to, those communities have not embraced me on the level that my own community has. But I don't know how to grow my community. I don't know how to find more of you. You're all very spread out is part of it too. Like, I have a very global audience. For being as small as it is, they're everywhere, you know? Totally different parts of Brazil, totally different parts of Europe, totally different parts of the United States. You know, my core base is very widespread. And keep in mind also, I'm not just speaking to the 20 people watching live right now. I'm also speaking to my VOD viewers. Every time I make a video, I am making it for everyone who's ever going to see it. And that makes it a really weird conversation for me to have with you. Like, the reason that I'll sometimes ramble on and on and on and not really look at the chat is this is a podcast. There's only 20 of you actually here. There's 3,000 people who are going to hear it later, minimum, you know, over a long enough time span. So, you know, I'm thinking about it in terms of how re-listenable is this into the future? Is this something that people can go back, put on, and be like, all right, I'm going to marathon every fucking Trixie live stream from 2024 or whatever, you know? So, you know, when I put these messages out there and statements like this, I'm not just talking to you people. I'm talking to anybody who hears this. You hear this 3 years from now, I'm still asking you the same question. You know, I might have more backers by then, but it's still not going to be big enough. It's still going to be a question of what are we doing to grow this further, you know? I'll probably be saying a lot of the same shit 3 years down the line until I can look at it and say, hey, we're doing it, gang. We're having a real impact. We're really doing it. Right now, I feel like a fucking space alien when I have to talk to anybody outside of my audience about my worldview in any way, shape, or form. My mom was trying to tell me that I needed to watch last night's John Oliver earlier. All right? Maybe this conversation, maybe this will bring it down to earth for you all, and you'll be able to understand where my head's at right now a little better, okay? If you don't know who John Oliver is, you know, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, he used to be part of The Daily Show. He's like the protege of Jon Stewart. Made a lot of really popular videos on his HBO show that translated into big YouTube videos. There was a time when I, whose political opinions were as complex as I have seen John Oliver and Jon Stewart, thought these guys were like awesome, you know? Because John Oliver, he usually has some kind of like big call to action in his videos. He's always calling out some like major corporation, some, you know, it's just like stuff that has been festering for a long time, but nobody's willing to really look at it. He kind of tries to bring it to the surface. That's cool, I guess. But over time, as I became exposed to, you know, the deeper political world through the internet, it kind of came to seem like, okay, this guy's kind of corny. You know, he's not really saying that much interesting stuff. He kind of is, you know, I don't know. It feels like TV to me. It doesn't feel like a real serious politics. It's just television, you know. All of television just feels like television to me. None of the news is news. It's a show about things that happened, you know, maybe things that maybe happened. The news is a TV show about things that maybe happened, you know, or things based somewhat in reality. So like something like John Oliver, my mom's like, oh, you gotta watch this. It's so important. It's such a big deal. And I'm like, well, what the fuck is it about? What do I need to know? What is so important about this? And she's like, well, it's the Operation 2025. It's this mass conservative Christian uprising, and they've poured all this money into Trump, and they're gonna blah blah blah, they're gonna ruin the world, and Trump's planning to make it, he's planning to make a decree, a legal decree, that there's only two genders, so that the only male and female will be recognized by the state or something. I don't know what that fucking means. And I was just like, all right, Mom, what do you want me to do about it? What are you gonna do about it? My mom runs the polls. My mom is she runs the polls that you vote in. She goes to the school and she operates the polls. Yesterday was the state primary for the GOP. So in other words, where they decide, of all the Republican candidates for state senator, who is going to be the candidate that they actually run against the Democrat in the election come fall. And my mom said that out of the 7,220 registered Republicans in their district, there were 120 people who showed up to vote. As she put it, no one fucking cares at all, especially not about a state election, especially not about a primary. Big waste of taxpayer dollars, even hiring 7 of us $200 for the day to come out and collect 120 votes. I highly agree. But when I asked my mom what needs to be done, she said, well, if enough people can get out to vote. And I said, Mom, that's not fucking happening. That's been the story. That's been the fucking coda for 70 years. That's not fucking happening. You're not getting people to come out to vote en masse. You'd be better off not volunteering to run the polls until there was no one willing to do it anymore. She was like, well, it doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't even matter who wins the popular vote because the Electoral College is just going to choose Trump anyways. I said, what are you going to do about that? Who do you need to scream to about the Electoral College? She said, well, I guess you could write a letter to a senator. I said, well, nobody's going to fucking read that. She's like, well, you're right. They just send you back a little thingy. I said, I could at least go to town hall and scream at the mayor or something before I'd, like, there's got to be a way to communicate with the people who make decisions and tell them, and if not, there's got to be a way to rally enough outcry against whatever they're doing, like this fucking sound, to, you know, good God. I feel like I'm in Eureka 7 episode 1 right now. I know I talked about this in my Eureka 7 video, but this is literally what it's like to live in the town that Renton lives in. I'm in between a train, a highway, a piston, a fucking abandonment everywhere around me. Ward's Corner is the setting of Eureka 7, episode 1. Jesus Christ. What the fuck was I saying? Yeah, no. The voting is worthless. Nobody cares about it. The only people doing it are the... I mean, you could fucking literally pay 100 people to go actually cast a vote. And you would be the only person for whom anybody bothered, you know? Like, it's insanity how useless the vote is in the United States. It's not doing anything. The fact that I think it's a huge psyop to put so much emphasis on the need to vote, because it takes the emphasis away from all of the things you could be doing, like communicating. Step 1, talk to your representative. How do I talk to my representative? Well, these days, nobody pays attention to you unless like 100,000 people hit like on your fucking message. So I feel like the only way you can affect anything anymore is literally to become famous. How do I become famous without just telling people what they already want to hear? Is it a hopeless endeavor? I don't know, but I'll keep trying. I shall scream against the dying world. Scream, rage against the dying of the light, or whatever. What's the cliche? The girl who screamed love at the heart of the world? Something like that. Simply become famous. I'm trying. I think I gotta, like, I don't know. Do I need to be sexier? Is it the sex appeal? What is it, the braids? Like, I don't know. Am I too smart? Do I need to dumb it down? Am I not weird enough? Am I too weird? You know, is it the location? Do I need more friends? I don't know. I don't know what it will take for people to start listening to me. Is it just money? Do I just need to have money? Because that sucks. That's the answer I want the least, is I just need to have money and then people will listen to me. It's like, because the ways to make money are gross. And I'd rather just do my life and let other people decide that what I'm doing is righteous than have to like buy righteousness by way of like, I don't know, showing my income or whatever. Doing the $2. What do you want from people? What change? I want people to be louder and prouder and more in your face. I want less shyness. I want less, particularly from people like me. I think we've run into a problem where people who like understand psychology and understand that like communication is thorny and like you're afraid of hurting people, but the problem is that most people aren't afraid of hurting you. Most of the world is not at all afraid of hurting you. And so if you're going around being afraid of hurting anybody, you're just gonna get killed. Like you're going to look like a victim to anybody vicious is gonna see somebody acting like a sheep and go, a sheep, let me sink my fangs directly into that, you know? And so, you know, I wanna raise a pack of wolves. I wanna get people in more of like a take for myself mindset, take for myself and my people, you know? I really believe that the government only should theoretically exist to steal from the rich and give to the poor. That's the purpose of the government. Because, I mean, like, if we're thinking of the government from like the very beginning, right? It's like beat up the big guy who's beating up on the small guy. Like, hey, he can't take all 9 of us at once. You know, if you got one big dude running roughshod on everybody else, and you team up 9 medium-sized dudes, they could probably take that big guy down, you know, and everybody else just makes an agreement. None of us are going to beat each other up because we all know that if one of us tries something, the other 8 of us are going to beat that guy's ass. That is how society basically starts, right? That's the police, is like, all right, you know, we're trying to make sure nobody's beating up on each other. So if you try to beat up on each other, more people are going to beat you up than you will have to beat them up with, hopefully. This is also how gangs work. And in the early days, in like the early 1900s, you know, police and gangs were basically the same size. You didn't have the militarized police that were equipped to suppress the gangs. And now we're basically all underfoot of the police and the government, which is a shitty place to be, but we technically control the police and the government. And the more of that control we actually exert, the more that we can make sure that they're actually protecting us, you know? Right now, the people who are right now, all the money coming into the police is coming in from Christian conservatives. What if, we had a massive trans coalition to, I don't know, buy politicians, buy the police? Why aren't we playing the dirty game they're playing? And if we can't play that dirty game, why don't we play a clean game that outs them all for playing a dirty game? You know, why don't we spread our money so thoroughly, so cleanly? But it's because nobody's making money. And nobody's making money because nobody's just biting at the fucking throat. You know? We're all just getting eaten alive. I hate it. I hate watching my people get eaten alive. I hate every time I hear about a trans person killed themselves, I'm just like, that's a lot of money you could have made instead. You know, like, come talk to me, I'll tell you how to make some money. You know, like, but you could have done a lot more for the rest of us, you know? Every time one of us is lost, it's an unfathomable loss. Imagine if I died right now, how much content is never getting made. You know? Like, imagine if I never make enough money to really do the kinds of things that I think I can do with money. It just means the reality is a little worse, you know? I've been really stuck on this ever since Satoshi Kon died. Just the realization of, like, the irreplaceability of anyone, really, but especially somebody who, you know, if he had lived long enough we'd already have 10 classic Satoshi Kon films, at least, in culture. The whole history of anime would be different. He would have had time to train a league of people who could do what he does, and there would have been a proper successor. There's nothing like that. He's just gone. That whole style is dead. That whole school of animation, gone. If I died right now, my whole school of thought is gone. No more impact. It's done. Unless somebody dug me up and sold me somehow to the mainstream, but I don't think anybody's going to. I think they'd be doing it already. I think at the very least, you know, somebody would have bought the rights to my archive if they were waiting for me to die to turn me into something mainstream. Oh my god, they're actually demolishing one of the old buildings over there. Holy shit, they're tearing down a whole massive abandoned building over there. Well, I guess it's about time. Let me get closer so I can show you this. I don't know what the whole fucking... I don't know what that is about. I don't know what they're doing over there that makes that loud ass noise. There will always be someone new to fill those shoes. No, it won't be anything like... It won't even be similar. I don't think there's any real replacement for anybody. Like... Who is George Carlin now? Like, Endless Jess? Maybe? I guess? But do you feel like, oh, we've still got George Carlin because we've got Endless Jess? No. You don't feel like, oh, we've still got George Carlin because we Louis C.K. No. Like, no, you've got guys who are cool and who are good, and they're good because he existed, but you don't have George Carlin. We don't have Hunter Thompson. I'm not anything like Hunter Thompson. Nobody has been. If Hunter Thompson had still been alive, maybe I could have gone and talked to him, learned something from him. He was dead by the time I'd heard of him. Hunter Thompson only killed himself in like 2005, you know? Like, he would still be alive if he hadn't killed himself. So, I don't know. Feel a little bit robbed. Feel like he took himself from me, you know? What could I have gotten from that guy if he hadn't decided to take himself out of the picture, you know? Maybe that's why he knew he had to go. He was like, I'm gonna get taken advantage of by some weird fucking trans internet celebrities one day if I don't get out of here right now. But as far as I know, I'm the only person who's taken the freak power flag and said, that's my flag now. But again, I don't have an army behind me. I don't have a bunch of Hunter Thompson's fans saying, you're the new Hunter, you know. I just don't think there's gonna be another me at all. No one else is ever gonna live stream walking around Ward's Corner, Norfolk, fucking complaining about how it's too much like Eureka 7 episode 1. You will never get that. Ever, ever, ever again. That's the content that matters to me the most. But I don't know if it means anything to anybody else. It certainly doesn't mean anything monetary to anybody. I will tell you that. But maybe historically, oh yeah, Justice with $2. I missed his super chat before. To become famous, make rage bait content. I already do that though. That's what I've been doing every day. This episode, this podcast is called Self Can't Help You, but I can. How's that not rage bait? Is it too obscure? Cosmic Blue with $2 says maybe you'd be more famous if you didn't skip supers, maybe. But I always go back to them, that's the thing. I'm accountable. I'll go back fucking 7 years and repay something, you know? You just gotta remind me. But I don't respect people who don't come for their money. Like, if I owe you and you never say anything, that's on you. That means you don't care enough about the money, and I cared about it more, in my opinion. I care about every dollar I have and spend, you know? If you give me money, and I feel like I care about that money more than you do, then I feel like it's my money, you know? It's just a matter of respect. I think if you really care, you'll say something. And if you're not willing to say something, you're just gonna harbor it in your chest. That just means you're a bad person. You know, seething is not healthy. It turns your heart black and makes you into one of those little nobodies from fucking Kingdom Hearts. Weed hole chung, petty theft is a sin. Petty theft is the best kind of theft. You guys need the Lord. No, I think, so here's the reason I titled this video, Self Can't Help You, but I Can. I think that self-help is kind of a bunk concept because you're not the problem. Everything is working against you. And that's kind of natural because everybody's working in their best interest. Like everybody, if they are operating sanely, if they're operating within the paradigm of how their brain functions, like how the brain is built to function, they're operating with their own best interest in mind. And usually, preserving your own best interest involves some level of fitting in and, like, you know, being capable of in-group participation. You have to have some kind of group to be a part of. So people will do things that make it look like they're doing it for someone else because it keeps them in the graces of the group. But it's really self-serving, you know? And if you're going around in this life expecting that there are some people who are just gonna not make a self-serving decision, who are just gonna do something for you for some reason, no, it's not gonna happen. You gotta make them do that. You have to compel them to action. You have to, like, literally tell people, like, you do this or else there's no more communication between us, you know? And I think that for most of human history, that was a much more natural state. Like, think about it. For most of history, people didn't meet that many people, you know? They knew a couple people they grew up with. They probably had some problems with those people as it is. And so they're definitely going to be suspicious of people they don't know. And so every move, every word matters when you meet somebody new, you know? That's why first impressions mattered so much, especially at a time where, you know, if you come wandering into town, everybody in town's first thought is, well, why are you here? What brought you here? Are you not welcome in your town? Don't you have somewhere you need to go back to? You know? That's the natural state of thinking. So when you see outsiders like me, that's a natural reaction. It's like, well, where's your group? Where's your clan? What do we need? Oh, you don't have, oh, you're just homeless. Oh, you're just like you've only got, you know, a tiny YouTube audience. You don't have a lot of money. Ah, so you're nobody, you know? You're not a part of that system. And I'm here to say most people are nobody. Most people are not a part of a system, but they're looking for an identity that says to them, you know, no, I fit into this group. I fit into that group. So I am Queen Dissociative. I am the leader of the nobodies. I'm the one who says, hey, if you don't belong to any other group, I'll take you, you know? But, I don't know how many people want to recognize themselves as a nobody, who want to be defined by their lack of definition, you know? How many people are as ethereal as they are, feel as ethereal as they are, you know? Can I pay you to read a long-ass Instagram DM? Only when I'm in a I can't close out of the stream to read anything right now. She is 2,000 Australian $2. Says, rant about self-help books / content, please. Sure. That's kind of where I'm at with this. So, like, self-help books are going to tell you about how to deal with yourself as a problem. The best self-help books, I think, are ones like How to Win Friends and Influence People, or, frankly, The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Books about dealing with other people. Because you're not the problem. You can't fix yourself. It's something that's... If you're not able to function in society, that's a problem with society. Society is supposed to work for everybody. That's the point of it. It was built to be as broadly applicable as possible. So when people are like, oh, you don't fit in, you gotta change yourself, that's them being lazy. It's them saying, I don't wanna have to take accountability for this. I don't wanna have to change society just because one guy doesn't fit in, you know? So it creates that, you know, that it puts all the onus on you to fix yourself. But you didn't do this to yourself. People did this to you. And the only way you're going to be able to get through it is with other people's help. It's not self-help. You need somebody else to help you look at what's going on and identify the problem. That's why I come on here and I literally ask you people questions like, why am I not popular? You know, if I sit here and ask myself these questions, I'm not going to get new answers. I'm going to make up my own answers, but I can try to use my logic, but why would my logic suddenly give me new answers I didn't have before? When I could ask somebody else, let their logic enter my brain, change my thinking, and now I might be closer to solutions or answers. And I think there's always strength in numbers. Everybody who has power because it was given to them by people. Even if it's just gathering money, that is people giving power. Money is power to you. So if you want to gather power, you need to be able to group up with others. So the key is not self-help, it's how do I fit in? How do I fit into this greater world? So in my case, I fit into the world in the sense that I have a voice that reaches people who are like me, in the sense that they feel outcasted, they feel like there's not, like the people around them in a physical sense are not living the same life they are. They're not thinking about the world the same way that you are. And a lot of you are thinking in a way that's directly influenced by me, by the fact that you've heard my voice so much over the years. But I also think that for a lot of the time that I was spreading my message, if you really listen to a lot of my stuff, you probably heard me say, like, don't look up to anybody under 30, like a lot of times. Once I crossed that threshold, and now that I am in my 30s, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm complete. This is who I am. This is who I'm gonna be. So I'm now ready to say, like, hey, take it or leave it. You can either be like me, we can hang out, we can be cool, or you know, I'm not like changing, I'm not evolving at this point, you know. I am, but not in the sense that like that I feel like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, or like I don't know how to tell people what to do. No, I can tell you what to do now. You know, like I can tell you what you're doing wrong, I can tell you how to fix it, because I understand what people are doing, and I understand what I'm doing. But I still have a lot of questions, you know? And I think sometimes when people see you asking questions, they think you're lost. They think you don't know what you're doing at all, because, well, you know, well, you're looking for answers. And it's like, well, you should always be looking for answers. You should know exactly where you are, but that doesn't mean you know where everything is, you know? Where is everything else in relationship to me? How far away is my train of thought from everyone else's train of thought, you know? Just how difficult would it be for me to have a conversation with any random person I came across on the street? The answer is not very hard, but it wouldn't be very gratifying for me personally. So how do I reach the people who will give me gratifying conversation? Well, that is just simply to create them, I think. Put so many of my ideas into people's heads. Okay, well, so how do I get them listening so that I create them? I guess the only effective way is to make it so everybody who listens to me can't shut up about me and speaks in a way that is so heavily informed by me that it requires other people to engage with me in order to understand what those people are talking about. That's how shows get popular, that's how religions get popular. Word of mouth spread. So the only way I think I can cause word of mouth spread is I either have to like change the way you think so much that you think other people need to see this to help them to be more like me also, or I have to just be so exciting, just do crazy stuff. But my ideas of crazy stuff, sometimes they tend to be off-putting. It's too crazy. People are like, oh, that's too crazy for me. I can't, when I said do something crazy, I meant like review a popular show negatively. I didn't mean like, you know, egg someone's house you don't like. I'm trying to think of a very tame example. That's not going to sound outrageous if I say it. Anyway, I've been going off. I've been truly ranting. Free Riley indeed. Thank you for everybody who's super chatted so far while I've been ranting. It's been a good one. I really just wanted to flex my legs. Yesterday and the day before, I didn't do a whole lot. You remember 2 days ago, I went to the park. I did a little bit of walking around, and I was sitting on a park bench, and a fucking black widow crawled up on my neck. So I decided I don't want to go back to that park for a little while. Yesterday I was editing that fucking Jujutsu Kaisen versus Evangelion video like all day long. I'm glad it's finally out. I don't even think it's hit 1,000 views yet, so I have to push it a lot harder if I want anybody to watch it. It's a very weird video. I don't know if it's gonna catch on. I know Butthole Weeb and Weedhole Chung have both agreed that they think it's going to reach 1 million views, but nobody else has shared their confidence yet. So, you know, maybe I'll have somebody design me a better thumbnail or something, better title, or maybe I'll ask ChatGPT for advice on how to market my YouTube video or something. I don't know. I'm really getting tired of listening to that fucking noise. There's nowhere I can really go to escape it. Here, look at this. There's the building getting torn down there. I'm like standing in a Black Rifle Coffee Company fucking parking lot because it's so dead that it doesn't feel like anybody's actually shopping there. Yeah, alright. I think I'm just gonna go home. So goddamn loud and chaotic. There seems to be a taco truck just set up here in the Farm Fresh parking lot across the street from the Taco Bell. I'm very curious about this, actually. Kind of hungry. Bird gets off work right about now. So maybe when he gets home, I'll be like, hey, let's check out this fucking taco truck. Wait, it's a jerk chicken truck. Oh, it's Jamaican food. It's Jamaican food truck. It's just randomly here. They got beef patties for $3.14. That's pretty tempting. They were selling like whole jerk chicken for $20. I've never seen a food truck set up in such a random place that's selling whole jerk chicken. What a weird place to set up though. Like, okay, well, the light is still red, but there's nobody going, so I'm just gonna walk. Okay, these cars are moving weird, so I'll just keep moving. You're talking about a description with keywords? I'm telling you, that is very small potatoes in terms of things that have impact. Like anything that has to do with like tags and all that, no, none of that. Word of mouth, I am telling you, word of mouth is the only realistic growth facilitator. Word of mouth can come in a lot of different forms. You get posted on Reddit, that's word of mouth. You get posted on Equestria Daily, that's word of mouth. That's how I grew my channel in the first place. The problem is that communities generally don't like me because I am anti-community. So, you know, most places that have heard of me, they don't want me posted there. I am pretty blacklisted. But I also, again, I don't have a personal army of defense against that. I don't have a rallying cry of like, why isn't Trixie allowed on your show? Why isn't Trixie in your convention? Why isn't Trixie, shared on your subreddit? Like, do you want to be the first person with the unpopular opinion? Why is it so goddamn windy all of a sudden? I thought it was just the tunnel, but it's still pretty windy. I'm guessing that's just a blowback from the cars on the interstate going as fast as they are, maybe? I don't know. It got mad windy. But yeah, I'm telling you, the only meaningful way that you can grow a show that I've ever seen is people talking about it. Like, consider how many people have literally paid me to watch cartoons. That is like that's like the highest fathomable level of word of mouth. It's like, that's on a level where it's not just, oh, I love this content. It's, I love this content so much, I will pay other people just to have seen it so that we can talk about it, or I can hear them talk about it, like even a little bit, you know? That is the kind of level of word of mouth that I envy and would like if people were paying one another to watch my videos, that is a level of word of mouth that I dream of. But I don't think I have that type of content right now. I don't have that kind, I mean, I know I have some stuff that's like highly clippable, you know. I've got some entertaining clips. I don't think I have anything that's on the level of like, I'm gonna pay somebody else to listen to this just to get their thoughts on it yet. But that is the category I'm looking for. So what do you think I would have to do? Like, what do you think I'd have to do that you would be so excited about my content that you weren't just paying me for making it, you were paying other people just to watch it, you know? Because you knew I was making so much money already off of it that there was no need to continue, you know? Like that Lackadaisy show, like, you look at that and you're like, okay, well, clearly this is bankrolled for as long as it continues to exist, you know? It's at a level where now people are paying me to watch it because that is the only way to draw, like the only way it's gonna grow beyond being fully paid for by its current audience is to just have more audience, you know, to bankroll it to even higher levels. Brilliant marketing. A video about furry anime. Now you're kind of talking. Because I can't think of a video just about furry anime or furries in anime. Why didn't I think of that? That's a good idea, Oraluna. We can make a furry pride video. Because I've been trying to figure out how to do my next anime pride video. Because I've got the 5 Yuri classics you need to watch, 5 trans classics you need to watch. I was thinking about yaoi, but I don't know enough yaoi, and there's so much more yaoi than there is, you know, Yuri or trans stuff in anime. Like out and out trans stuff. But furries. If y'all want to help me put together a list of all the best furry anime, do that in the Discord, because I won't remember anything in the chat, but help me to create a list of the best furry pride anime. ReZero is not one of the best, but it's definitely on the list of furry pride anime, I think. What's that one? Ah, fuck. I feel like Mushoku Tensei also would I'm gonna at least mention, or maybe I'll put in the thumbnails, the Beast Girls from Mushoku Tensei and ReZero just as bait to lure people into my video about better anime Beast Girl furry content. The furrier the better. I guess Beastars would obviously be the #1. Beastars is probably the greatest furry anime that's ever existed, as far as I know. But I'm not that plugged into the furry community either. Ancient Magus Bride, Monotone Blue, I've never heard of that. Girl from the Other Side, Yes 5 Precure, Beastars, Hyper Police. Ooh, Hyper Police. Yeah, KO Beast is definitely... KO Beast might be the most furry looking anime I could think of besides, like... Because Beastars, it's obviously furry, but it's got such a unique art style. KO Beast feels like furry art, you know? So that would definitely go on the list. You'll literally write the furry pride for me. Yeah, go for it. I'll just change up I'll write whatever you want. I will adapt it for my own use. I'm totally down to take submissions. I've always kind of dreamed of running my stuff more like a magazine. Obviously, I made that Media Melt magazine was like kind of my experiment to see how I could translate a magazine into video form, because like I grew up, like magazines, I don't know, they kind of, I feel like the way I think is very magazine derivative, where there's like these different segments that have different, like, you know, your more analytical, long-winded pieces are kind of in the middle, or like your stories and stuff are in the middle, but then in the front you've got like just the lists and the reader mail, like quick Q&A type stuff. In the back you've usually got reviews that are, you know, not as in-depth and analytical, but just kind of like customer reviews with scores and everything. And like growing up with Beckett Pokemon Collector and Nintendo Power in particular, Game Informer, like I just grew up reading lots of magazines, and it's really, I feel kind of fucked up about the fact that like by the time I was an adult, the medium was just completely dead. Like, if not for that, I would obviously work in magazines. I would just obviously work in that medium if it wasn't totally dead. And that's why I'm the only person who cares to review Otaku USA and complain about how bad it is, because I'm like, man, what I would give to have a good anime magazine, you know? And nobody's even trying to adapt that concept on the internet. Like, I've read great internet magazines. None of them are like anime magazines, you know? There just hasn't been, even as, I mean, there's like Colony Drop, I guess, but they had like a physical release, and it was more like a fanzine than like a magazine, you know? I want like a quarterly publication in the style of Medium Melt, but with more than one person making it, you know? And not necessarily like schizophrenically chaotic like that, but I just mean like formatted that way, you know? Escaflowne does have some furry representation. Monster Musume, obviously. I guess I would probably boil all the monster stuff down to one. Like, that's kind of its own subcategory, you know? I don't know if that quite counts as furry. It's definitely more accessible than furry is, the Monster Girl stuff, I think. If only I'd become an Otaku USA A&N contributor. But again, it's just a matter of like, that whole format was dead by the time I got there. And I haven't been able to convince any of those people to come into the future, because most of the people who do anime writing, it's not necessarily their only job. And if it is, it's because they're doing it all over the place. Like Daryl Surratt is like, he's got the Anime World Order podcast. He's writing for Otaku USA, like half the articles in every fucking magazine. He's, you know, all the good ones, I should add. He's doing speeches at conventions all the time, doing panels. Like, I guess if I had to put my finger on like who I should be modeling my career after, it would be that guy. Like, Daryl Surratt is basically in the position I would want to be in, but he sincerely just has been around a lot longer and knows a lot more history than I do. So he's in a better position to be that guy. Like, I wouldn't want to take that spot from him. That's why I praise him so much. But he's the only person who I think is doing something resembling what I think all of them should be doing. But like, most of these guys, again, it's not their only job. Most of them have other industry-related jobs, and they can't necessarily talk about stuff on like the fan level, on the consumer level, because most of them got involved in the industry more directly. So, which is not really good. Like, journalistic ethics standpoint, you shouldn't be writing about anime if you're also working in the industry, at least not unless you're talking about it a lot. You know, like, at least Shaves will say every time he's got like a vested interest in what he's talking about. But like, how is it that Shaves is the only one who's like connected to that whole generation of like creators, and like doing that same kind of job, who has translated it to YouTube? Well, it's because he's not successful. You know, like, Shaves has never been able to make money putting all that work and heart into those YouTube videos. I made money at a time, but I never figured out how to. I guess the real answer is I still haven't figured out how to make it work. If I had figured out how to make it work enough that I could sell it back to all those old people who used to be the main anime writers, then we'd have a modern culture of anime magazines on YouTube. But I haven't figured out how to make it work yet. So, you know, maybe somebody will. Maybe somebody's going to rescue all of us anime old heads and pave a path forward for all of us to make some money writing about anime again. I feel like now is a great time because anime is good. Like, and maybe I think this might be the standpoint I have to come forward with. The revolutionary take might just be gang, we did it. Anime is good. Like, victory achieved. Nobody's been able to find me like a terrible popular show to rag on right now, other than Mushoku Tensei, which has been already out for like 5 years, so it's not like new, you know? I mean, maybe the problem is that we're like so deep in sequels at this point that like not a lot of new shit's coming out, but I don't know, the new shit that's coming out, it's not that bad. I didn't hate the Jellyfish show, I didn't hate the Seventh Prince show, I didn't hate, there's something else new I watched that y'all got me to watch, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't suck. Question mark? Anime doesn't suck? Question mark? I don't know. What do you all think? Is anybody watching anime? Anybody enjoying anime right now? We watch anime. You know, last year I watched a lot of it, and there was a lot of good shit. Shigoku Raku was great. Heavenly Delusion was great. Fucking Mashal. A lot of people liked The Dangers in My Heart. I thought it was okay. You know, fucking Skipping Loafer. That was all pretty much just spring. Dr. Stone was still good. I don't know, anime, maybe anime is good, guys. Maybe it's alright. Maybe it's okay. Go Loser Ranger, I've had that recommended to me a few times. I watched the first episode and a half. I wasn't getting that into it, thought it seemed okay, but I could see watching more of it because so many people have said that it's worthwhile, you know? My friend John is going to be in town next week. He really likes that show. He was the one who called me up the other night because he thought of an idea for a story about a guy with a hammerhead shark man who, you know, he fights normally, but his secret weapon is that his headbutt is super powerful, but it hurts himself when he does it, so he doesn't want to use it. But people always think because his weakness is like his head that they should be aiming for it, and he's like, well, you should fuck around and find out. Bam, headbutt. He called me to ask for a name for the character as a younger brother. He said his name would be Sledge. So he said, what should his younger brother's name be? And I told him Pin. It was like, you know, a sledgehammer and a pinhead hammer. Pinball hammer? Whatever. Pinhammer. Sledgehammer and pinhammer. It sounds cool to me. I also have been writing, last night when I asked Bird to write a book and he came up with the concept, I've been fleshing out the main character, but I haven't told him about it yet, so I'm not going to talk about it publicly until I get the cosign on the details, maybe flesh it out a little bit more with Bird. But I think we've got the makings of a cool story about a long-haired longboarder in San Diego who starts using powers. Alright, I'm going to end this live stream and come back later. It's hot. I finished my rant. I said my piece. Go watch the Jujutsu Kaisen versus Evangelion video if you haven't. If there's anywhere you can think that somebody might enjoy it, anybody you know who would appreciate it, please share it. I'm telling you, word of mouth spread is the only hope I've got at any shot at making any kind of impact in this world in the short time that a human life lasts. So, share my shit. All right. See you later.